The much anticipated and controversial Labour Code will be enacted on August 1st, Emancipation Day in St. Lucia nonetheless. On Tuesday, July 31st, a day prior to the enactment, a symbolic ceremony was held to commemorate this momentous occasion. We have more in this report.
The Labour Code is about justice. Justice for workers, justice for employers, justice for all.
A rousing note of approval from the President of the Trade Union Federation on the enactment of the Labour Code. While the trade unionist welcomes the legislation as an ally for both employees and employers, he acknowledges that the code on its own cannot change the environment. He has asked for the Labour Department to be given all the needed resources to enforce the code. Julian Monrose, however, believes the code will be a saving grace for hotel workers, whom he says seem to live in slavery.
There are people who work in our hotels who do not see the children awake in the morning. Because by the time they go to work, the children are asleep. By the time they come back home, the children are at school. By the time they leave home, the children have not returned. By the time they return from work, the children are asleep. How do we expect these parents to effectively parent the children and help resolve some of the social problems that we have in the society? The employers have to understand that when the social problems continue to grip the society, they too are in trouble.
The Labour Code consists of existing labour laws pooled and refined, as well as updated. For instance, employers will no longer be able to simply do away with employees. Ironically, something the head of the Employers Federation welcomes.
Workers cannot be dismissed at the whims and fancies of any employer. The code sees to that. Right? We also see a higher level of human resource development will be ushered in, as employers will have to prove that every effort is made to develop employees before the employees could be terminated.
The perception that the code will hinder investment has been shot down by the government. The Labour Minister says investors and entrepreneurs will find themselves aided by the legislation.
We are concerned that the industrial relations climate we create and preserve would not only attract investors, but also help our local entrepreneurs navigate these perilous waters that challenge their very existence. The ongoing shock in the global economy, the reverses that threaten to lengthen their unemployment lives are of real concern to us. That is why we have adopted the balanced approach of employee responsibility and employer fairness that characterize the Labour Code.
And we expect that within the context of the introduction of the tripartite consultative body comprising the social partners, that the Labour Act will be continuously refined to reflect our changing circumstances, our value system, and international standards.
Deputy Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, for his part, has called on all stakeholders to refrain from using the code as a political football.
The government of St. Lucia hopes that no attempts are made to utilize this law to create confusion or to destabilize the relatively calm labor relations climate within our country. We are aware that there are some anxieties and trepidation over the level of preparedness of the Labour Department to police this act. However, the government wishes to reaffirm its commitment to taking all necessary steps needed to address any possible impediments to the smooth implementation.
Employees were reminded of their responsibility to the employer in order to fulfill the true intent of the Labour Code. For the CTV News, I'm Lisa Joseph reporting.